Hello, guys. Welcome to the Deep Surface Podcast. How you doing today, fellas?
Good.
Wonderful,
good.
bro. Wonderful.
Man, I'm good, man. This is our second take.
35th.
But I want to read something, and this quote came from a TED Talk. His name is Jeff Lieberman, and I heard him because I listened to Jim Carrey a lot too as well. But he, in lieu of everything that's going on in the world, all the trials, all the tribulations that we're dealing with, and sometimes, Keegan, we can't explain our suffering. That's the most frustrating part about what we go through, what we're experiencing right now. We're in a time where there's inflation. We're in a time where we've had mass shooting after mass shooting, which we're going to talk about here tonight. But it's been turbulent times right now, and we don't really sometimes understand why we suffer, and we put so much emphasis on what's going on and the things we're dealing with, Keegan. But I want to read this for a second. It says, all suffering is based on the illusionary separation that there's an individual in the environment that has to survive, that 1,000 trillion atoms has to hold itself together. But if I realize I'm energy, and that the mind and the body is a temporary manifestation of that energy, then I can fully accept the death of the body, because I was always energy and I always will be.
That's good.
We have to realize that this existence that we're living in right now is temporary. We also have to realize that we're energy. We're always going to be here. We're always going to exist in this. So enjoy your time, Keegan. Mm-hmm. And I know the tribulations. I know things are going on around us, but we have to master our existence, Keegan. We talked about this a little bit earlier, Ivan. Yeah. You have to master your existence. Not be perfect. Not please everybody. Not reach every single goal. Not chase the rabbit, but master your existence. Keegan, take your time. We talked about that earlier, being patient. Yep. And I was saying, for me personally, man, I want to talk about this for a second, man. I have anxiety. I do. I have separation anxiety. I have anxiety, and I deal with it. It's tough. I deal with it on a day-by-day basis. And what my anxiety does to me sometimes is it has me living in the future, and it has me going back trying to create redo something in my past. So I'm rarely ever present. Because I'm doing this all the time. I'm trying to get going, but I can't stay present, and that's so pivotal in our life, Keegan, that we stay present. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't stay present, how do you know what your future can look like? Yeah. Because you're creating scenarios that hasn't happened yet, and that creates anxiety, man. And for me, that quote meant a lot to me, because I realized that I don't have to hold all these atoms together. Yeah. I don't have to hold this together. And the whole thing is as an individual, I don't have to hold it together, being that we're not separate from each other, Ivan. All our suffering is based on the fact that you think you're in a separate entity than me. No, we're experiencing life right now. Mm-hmm. We're experiencing humanity right now, man. And I think that's important, that we understand what we are. We can fully accept anything in life once we realize that we'll always be. Mm-hmm. That we'll always be, and we always was. Treat people right. Be kind to people. It's okay. Kindness. Practice those things, because we can't stop what's happening in the world. We can't, as an individual, I can't do anything about what's going on with these shootings. Yeah. I can't walk up and I can't make their family feel better. Yeah. I don't have that power, Keegan. Mm-hmm. How do we continue, Keegan? It's so many distractions. It's so many things going on right now, man. How can we stay focused on the main things, Keegan?
If I knew, I probably would do it myself, right? And I listened to a post. Sierra was being interviewed, Russell Wilson's wife, and she said, I don't want to waste life.
Come on, that's good.
I want to maximize life. And to your point, when you start talking about, I'm trying to go into the future to deal with something that hasn't even happened yet. Yes. I want to go into the past for something I can't even do anything about. I miss right now.
You do.
And when you start thinking about how weeks run together, now we're in June, that's what's going on. We're running around doing everything but experiencing the right now and being in the moment. And so I would say, just stop. There's some simple responses. Just stop.
And there's a fear in stopping sometimes. because you run so much.
Exactly. So if you get caught up in the chasing something,
Yes,
you think if I stop, I'll never catch it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? But you don't realize if you just stop, what you actually experienced it was what you're supposed to catch to begin with. So I believe that just stopping for a second, smelling the roses, enjoying the fruits of your labor, and enjoying the people in your life who you love. Like, as long as you're doing that, you'll never miss something.
absolutely.
Because, the Bible says, tomorrow has no promise for itself.
It does, man. That's
And
good.
it's going to be there for you in the future. You ain't got to worry about it right now. In the past, you can't do nothing about it. It's already done.
And kicking, and for a long time, I thought that stopping meant a decrease in productivity.
Yes.
Like I can't reach my goal. Like we got it. It's almost like a manufacturer mindset.
Yeah.
Got to keep it going. Assembly line, keep it going. But people are now starting to. I think the pandemic. We talked about this a little bit, and Ivan, I think you talked about the pandemic has opened up people's avenue. That hey, listen, this is not the only way.
Oh yeah.
There's ways I can sit and be still and allow my gifts to manifest things for me. I can work. I can work smarter, not harder.
Right.
And I think America's having a tough time dealing with that too. The corporate America side. I ain't gonna get off on that. But Ivan, people, how do people stop and pause like Keegan talked about, and not worry about that decrease in productivity? What can people do to continue to know that even if I take a pause for a second, things can still get done?
Well, I think that pause looks like exactly what Keegan was saying. Just to piggyback off what he's saying, it's not necessarily a pause, because just because you stop going doesn't mean that you actually have to stop doing.
That's good.
And so
That's good.
So in the midst of maybe you're not chasing or running after anything, but now you can channel that energy into spending more time with your loved ones.
Absolutely.
Doing some of the things that you love, some of the gifts and the talents that you may have, some of the hobbies that you have, and actually taking the time to just literally experience that. Because in that experience, energy is still being transmitted.
Absolutely.
And
that's good, Ivan.
And so it's just redirecting the energy. It's not I don't even really consider it to be a stop or a pause. I consider it to be a redirection of that energy. Meaning I don't have to chase, I can actually do.
That's good.
So,
and I think taking that pause and focusing on the right things, focusing on, like for me, for example, I talked about my anxiety, but what I've learned to do is, I said, what's the most important things in my life and how can I focus on that? Focus on my children.
Yeah.
I started focusing on them, and all of a sudden my anxiety became manageable. It was there. Sometimes things are going to be there. Right. You won't get rid of everything. I think I think America got anxiety. I don't know if I met nobody who don't got anxiety, because we're all, like you say, this rat race that we're running. But when I begin to learn to focus in on them, and I thought I was teaching my children, my children was teaching me.
You see, children don't chase cheese.
They don't. They live in the freaking moment.
They live in the moment.
Yeah.
Like, and I learn, and I'm learning watching them, because you get to learn about your emotions. And I think for a lot of men, sometimes we tolerate our emotions instead of experiencing them. We know they're there. We know they exist, but we won't sit down and have a conversation with it. We won't sit down and say, okay, bro, I'm feeling this way. You just can't ignore that. Yeah. And that's what a lot of men, I know, Keegan, we go through that because, listen, bro, we suffer in silence.
We do.
We have silent screams. We don't talk to people about things. We just let it roll off our shoulder. Then eventually what happens? We blow up. And then your character, especially for black men, and then that's how your character is shaped, from that one blow up.
Right.
It's hard for us to go talk to people. It's hard for me to talk to people about our business, because what does it say about me if I'm weak? But really, experiencing your emotions through my children, watching them, it's made me stronger. It's made me more sure about who I am, because they give me strength with the way they act. Man, children are straight from God, bro.
Yes.
Absolutely.
My daughters can be acting a fool towards each other. On the next they'll be over there playing. Then they'll give me a hug, then they'll cry. So they experience their emotions. But when we become adults, sometimes we just forget. We just forget.
Well, we'll bury them.
We will.
suppress.
You was very generous when you said we tolerate them. We just bury them because we don't want to come across as weak. And I think what people don't realize is I prefer not to be looked at as weak instead of looking for solutions.
That's good, Keegan.
Because when you start to go through it, you actually look for solutions. Like
that's
look
good.
at therapy,
yes,
if you will. You know, and one thing I want to come back to what you said a little bit ago regarding this rat race is learn how to manage your consumption rate.
Man, I wish we had a clap.
I would say what the pandemic taught me was a lot of stuff I had in my life I didn't really need. It was excess.
That's good.
Right. So I've learned now, once I actually hit my mark for the day or for the week, I can stop running and producing. Now I can just experience life. You know, but if I want to keep going after more and more and more and more, I'll never stop to experience life.
You won't.
So manage your consumption rate. What you need for the day or for the week, for the month, once you hit that mark, boom, I'm going to go enjoy my life. And those who have figured that piece out have much more peace, much more tranquility in their life than those who have not figured that out yet. But still chasing.
Because the goal is peace, Ivan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make no mistake about it.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to be happy. I want to be happy. I think everybody wants to be happy, but
Right.
being happy
But
is
it's a
not
temporary
my goal.
emotion.
It is. It comes.
temporary.
Something
It is.
has to happen for you to be happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just like if you're not happy, something has to happen for you to be sad.
It's like because everybody just they say this thing about happiness. I want to be happy. I want to be happy. But happy is the exact same emotion as excited.
It is.
You're never going to be excited all the time because it's not meant for you to be excited all the time. But you can always have joy,
Yes.
even
That
in
part.
pain.
You
You
can.
can still have joy.
You can.
And so I think we get so caught up in the idea of wanting to be happy, just as Keegan was stating. We'll continue to keep consuming. Well, we'll do, and never just take the time to just be like, but I've done, and what do I do after I've done? Because if you continue to keep living your life that way, you'll completely miss out on exactly what you just stated. Actually being able to understand and be able to grow in this human.
I want to ask you a question, Ivan. How do we get this toxic relationship with more? I want you to answer that question too for me, Keegan.
Sure.
Like, how do we get into a relationship with? Because it's like a never-ending cycle.
Well,
Like it's a toxic relationship.
so the relationship of more is based on the things that we consume. It's the television, it's radio, it's social media, and I'm just gonna step out there. It's education system.
Ooh.
Right? The goal is they tell you that you need to do this in order for you to obtain this. But in order for you to get more of this and be able to have this lifestyle that you want, you got to do just a little bit more. And so because of that, they teach you that in this assembly line. Now, instead of actually going and being and living a productive life, having a productive life and being able to manage it yourself, you no longer are managing it yourself. You're actually managing somebody else's business.
Wow.
While they're enjoying the life that they gave you.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to get back to the places of what is the things that truly bring you that peace. You said for you is being able to slow you down is being able to spend time with your children.
Absolutely.
What is that thing that truly just makes, what is it that you would do if you never received anything for it? What is that thing? And when you can find that one thing, what it is, you'll actually do more of that thing so you can spend time doing the real thing.
That's
Man.
called your passion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
because
called your
Keegan,
passion.
because what more does is it negates balance.
Of course.
And we're beings that need balance. Bro, when we get too out of sorts, bro, we get wired up, man, we all over the place.
Yeah.
It takes away from our balance, Keegan.
I agree. But half of the answers in the question you pose, toxic.
It is.
So once you understand that chasing more is toxic, you should stop chasing it.
Yeah.
Right? And the other half, I think, is here, the pursuit of comparison. So we've been taught.
Ooh, Keegan, that's good.
We've been taught to compete with each other. Right?
That's good.
And so if I see Ivan got X, I got to go get Y. Because TV shows me, the radio tells me, and what everybody see in the streets are doing. Right? So this pursuit of comparison is what drives us to actually want more. And what I've learned is, hey, what you eat don't make me what?
It don't make you ish.
Hey, right?
You gonna get me to cuss? No, you're not gonna get me to cuss, boy.
Hey,
you trying to get?
That's what it says. Hey, mama,
almost cussed.
hey, mama, I'm trying to get him out there right there. I'm trying to get him out there. So I think what we got to understand is the only person I need to compete with is the guy in the mirror.
Yeah.
That's my only competition. And once I really accept that, nothing else matters.
And here's a question: how bad should you beat yesterday's you? Is there a limit? Like, think about it, because the man in the mirror, you have to compete with that.
Yeah.
How bad do you want to beat yesterday's Keegan? Is there a threshold? Because we got the all around us, Keegan. That's why I say our toxic relationship with more. And this is not, we got motivational speakers. Go, go, go. You got ETs. You got the guys telling you to keep going and keep going. But sometimes I feel like, even for myself, how far should I go? What is the tipping point for me? Because ambition can drive you down pathways you've never thought you would be. You know what I mean? And how much is enough? Those are real questions, I think, as a society that is pivotal to our growth.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I look into my business mind, think about a business plans, right? So say we want to accomplish 8% growth of revenue over last year, right? So they didn't say I want to get 28%, just 8%. Why? Because they know there's an efficiency that maximizes the 8%.
Wow.
Once I go past that, I'm probably going to be inefficient in getting it. So I can get 12% growth on my revenue stream, but it won't create more profit for me. So is it worth it? We got to start asking ourselves is, to your point about what's the limit past being better than my last year guy, my last year person. You got to understand how you plan for that. So once you hit that mark and hit that line of demarcation, I ain't going to go past that. Once I hit my mark, boom, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm good with where I'm at. Everything I have is paid for. I got food in the pantry. Lights are on. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to sit in the backyard. Go get kids, grandkids. I'm going to do absolutely nothing. Just breathe.
And master your existence.
Exactly.
Because see, you can't, and it comes back, you can't master your existence doing all these different things.
No.
Because you have to truly understand why you exist, you really have to absorb. You really have to meditate. You really have to stop. Like literally, sometimes physically stop. Because your mind is always racing. It's always racing, Ivan. You don't know how to stop. But we have to get a better relationship with contentment.
Can I ask you a question, Steve? When
Absolutely.
you can ask.
Okay, man, I'm back on my asking question stuff too tonight, man. Y'all some goats, by the way, bro.
So when you was in corporate America, you ever went on a retreat with your company?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right? Why did they do that? They wanted to get you out of the what? So when you think about when you experienced that, how did you feel when you was at the retreat? And how did you feel when you came back?
I felt great when I was at the retreat. Mm-hmm. I felt great. I felt like I experienced, for me personally, I was able to travel the world and see a lot of stuff outside of here, which broadened my horizon, and I believe opened up a whole new portal of idealism for me. It opened up different things for me. So that's how it was for me.
Gotcha. I know when I used to come back, I was even energized.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ready
Good.
to go. Right.
Yeah.
They understand that.
Yes.
They understand the psyche of people. And so for us, I look at, for me, what I learned how to do was vacations for family. I also need mental weekends.
Yes.
Take the Friday off or Monday off, give me an extended weekend, and I go do Keegan stuff, just alone time with myself.
Yep.
I got to recharge because if you're hey, these are the
casino guy.
Yeah, that part.
I ain't say you got about to say you casino guy.
Tell my
See, I ain't
business
snitch on
out there,
camera.
That's a dry snitch. That was a dry snitch.
Yeah,
But
lead
you're
in
right.
snitch.
No, but you're right. I use it. That helps me decompress.
Yeah.
I detach when I go to the casino, right? I'm not worried about insurance. I'm not worried about selling clothes. I'm not worried about the market, stocks, none of that stuff. I'm just going to the casino to enjoy myself and detach. I think you got to do that periodically so you don't fry yourself.
Absolutely. And I think, one thing I'll tell people is, hobby and passion is different.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Find you need both. Find you a hobby that doesn't require you to be good. something that you can just immerse yourself into, because your passion, essentially, you want to get better. This is my passion. I'm doing this. I want to get better. I want to stay sharper. I want to make sure that content and the things that we're talking about matter to our audience. You know, I think about this. This is a part of what I do, but there's things that I like to do. Like, you know, I like to swim. I got to go swimming. I don't need to be good at swimming. But I love the pool. I love to get in the pool. And it's an exercise thing for me. And it frees my mind and it helps me decompress. And I don't have to be good at it, but I need to be immersed in it.
I like that. Find a hobby that you're not good at.
Yeah, you don't have to be good at. Like, and I think that's what makes it that you can keep coming back to it, because your passion is going to stretch you. Your passion is going to move you. It's going to challenge you. It's going to turn into pain. You know, so your passion is you're going to get enough in your passion. Find something that you love that you don't have to be good at, is my thing.
And to that point, Steve, if you don't have to be good at it, you'll never stress about not being good at it.
You won't.
You'll never stress about it.
Yeah.
You just do it for the fun of it. Yeah.
Because
that's interesting. That's a good thought.
Because where we are, because we're right now, if we're being honest, man, we're in a perilous time. We talked about it earlier. We are in turbulent times in our country. What? How many mass shootings in the last?
More than I want to count.
I don't even know how many to count.
Like
how many mass shootings?
It's like 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah, more than I want to count.
You know, there was an interesting post. I want you to go talk about it later after we talk about this. That Tank posted.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was good because we talked about.
I watched.
You
that.
watched
Yeah.
that, and I thought
that
was, and I think that's the answer.
Yeah.
You know, can you explain it, because I don't remember everything, but I know it was talking about violence and love.
So, what the post was about? It was about how I forget the artist's name. It's Sam. I think it's Sam.
Sam Smith.
Sam Smith.
Stay with me.
The song
Stay with me.
Stay with me, and how you have so many artists outside of the R&B genre or the traditional R&B genre that'll get a chance to sing a song about love and saying how they want to stay together. They want to be with their family. They want to be with their wife. They want that. But when an artist like Tank or somebody like
Avant. You don't like Avant?
No.
Avant was dope.
Yeah. Oh, you were talking about from back then.
But yeah, nah, Avant was fire.
Yeah. But I mean,
Baby R. Kelly. Yeah.
well, yeah.
You like Carl Thomas?
Yeah.
Carl Thomas.
Yeah.
I like that
Carl
one
Thomas was
album.
fire.
I like
But
that
Carl
one album.
Thomas did it though, because he had a real R&B to him. I mean, you know,
Aaron Hall.
being emotional.
Yeah.
But now today, that stuff doesn't get a great bandwidth, and the reason why it doesn't get a bandwidth, as he was stating, it just goes under the radar. And he has to sing the songs that are a little bit more vulgar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, the songs that Tank does produce, they're great, right? But he says those are the ones that's going to go straight to the top of the rotation. And he said it's because they don't care. They don't fear our violence. When it comes to comes to hip hop,
Come on.
they don't fear our violence.
They don't. Come on, Ivan.
When it comes to the R&B music, or what people call R&B nowadays, they don't fear that, oh, I don't need this, I don't need that type of music. They don't fear that. What they fear is our love.
That's it. That's the
fear our
powerful
love.
instrument. See, that's the power. See, we was focused on violence.
Yeah, we were.
We was focused on violence, but it's really about love.
Right.
The most powerful thing there is. It can break down the strongest man, the biggest gun. Man, I looked at my little girl when she was first born. That innocence, that holiness in her. When she was first born, it broke me. Any negative thought could not live in that moment.
Yeah.
That's what love is. Somebody do something to you. But if you love them, you forgive them.
Yeah.
Because love is powerful. It holds no records of wrongs. Let that sink in. And I think more so, we're going to talk about the shootings a little bit, but I want to focus on what we can be.
Yeah.
You know, what we can do. Because even in the political process, Keegan, we got to show a level of empathy on how to get there. because people don't understand that process. We got to show some love there. And love is action. Love is powerful and it's strong and it cuts.
When it's honest.
When it's honest too, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it heals. Man, when he said that woke something up in me.
It did, because when you think about stuff that's actually in major rotation, we're talking about no F in free.
Yeah.
I'm F nigga free.
Mm-hmm.
But what he was really illustrating was a man talking about loving his woman and taking care of his family. That is the biggest threat to America.
Yeah.
A black man taking care of his family and loving his wife and his children the way they're supposed to be loved. They want to stop that by any means necessary. Yeah. Because when you have a strong black family, bro, it's almost it's a impenetrable wall. Mm-hmm. It is.
It causes people to get nervous when they see you.
Absolutely.
They get nervous when they see you out in public.
Absolutely.
I just did college campus tours with my oldest son.
Oh, congratulations, my guy.
Yes, sir.
Graduation season.
Throughout the week. And it's interesting the way that they have the conversation. When they see a black family, not just me and my son, or just me and his mother, me and both of my sons and their mother, my two oldest sons, it's different. It's like, whoa, this is a whole family. This isn't a kid that just something happens to. And so when they see that, it's fear. And he's not looking at schools that, that would be typical that most kids like him are going to. And so they look at it, and I think it actually automatically, it causes them to be, they're more afraid of that than they are if I'm
because you have no fight against love. You do have guns against violence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They can fight fire with fire. Oh, they got bigger guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Keegan, you taking care of your family, can't fight that.
No.
Because you can't, that's why I say if you can accept the temporary manifestation of the mind and the body, you can fully accept death. What I mean by that is that they can't take away, no matter what they do, it's not enough torture to make them turn your back on your wife and your children.
Facts.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. They can't take that away from you. Yeah. And if you notice, that's why they did to us what they did to us in slavery, because they were trying to strip our identity. But now, when you see strong black families, bro, you're starting to see the resurgence, and that's the love, and just families in general, just not just black families in general. And when you look at, Keegan, what we're dealing with right now, in particular these 19 children being taken away, man, that there's something, it's not that it's violence at hand, but it's love missing out of there. There's something missing out of there, man. And I want to go here for a second too, because we talked about it out there. I want to switch gears for a second and kind of talk about this. I want to talk about the spiritual aspect of this. What could make a person? 19 children. I want you to just think about this, and everybody in the audience who's listening can, conceive it any way you want to. But I want to ask the question to everybody. But Keegan, I want you to answer since you're sitting right here. You too, Ivan. Is this possible? We talked about the thing that happened in Buffalo, and you talked about out there. There was a reason he went and did that. We could put our finger on. He was radicalized, as you say, right? Mm-hmm. So there was this idea that he's completing a mission, and white supremacy has to reign. So I have to get rid of this. Though this is an example. This is a Dylan Roof type of situation. Mm-hmm. So you can follow the precedents that was set from that. Egregious, but you at least get where it's coming from.
Yeah.
This kid that committed this heinous act against these children, Keegan, help me make sense of this in your mind. And could this be a spiritual possession, a demon actual possession? Because I don't have another answer. I don't know how you do this.
So I can't make sense of it either, but I would say that there was demon possession in both shootings.
Absolutely.
Buffalo
okay, good.
And Uvalde, because I think white supremacy is a devil tactic.
That's good.
Right.
That's good.
And
That's good.
That to me, I don't want to say one. I don't want to compare each one.
Good.
By saying one was worse or better or worse than the other. I don't want to do that. I can't put my arms around what this young man was thinking when he went to the school. Because every question I'm like, well, if you were bullied, why not go back to the high school that you attended and shoot kids there? Not saying I want them to be shot there either, but why not go back there? Why shoot your grandmother? I can't put my arms around.
So random.
Yeah, I can't put my arms around his decision making as to why he did what he did. All I can say is to the parents, rest in God, and let him comfort and give you peace. And look for answers as to how that was handled, because we also are learning that the way the police department handled that situation was also a little suspect as well.
Very sus.
Right. So we wonder, could there have been less casualties than it was based on how it was handled? That's a different conversation. But the Buffalo shooting could have been prevented how you dealt with Dylann Roof.
Come on.
So to me, I think that requires a little bit more. I don't want to say a little bit more. That requires a little bit of concise attention, because that's a problem that we have in this country.
It is.
I don't know what drove that young man to go shoot up 19 kids.
And it was such a phenomenon.
Yeah. So I can't say what that problem was. Outside of, you want to call it mental health, run with that. That could be possible.
Yeah, but that's difficult to run with that when you see that he goes and purchases a gun on his 18th
exactly.
birthday.
He planned it out. And I would say, even with the mental health argument as it relates to gun violence in this country, other countries, like even in Europe, other continents, they have mental health issues at the same proportionate rate that U.S. has it.
Yeah.
But do not have the gun violence that we have.
Yep.
So I don't want to start attaching mental health to gun violence. I'm just away from that right now. Right.
Absolutely.
But to me, what happened in Buffalo was a direct line from what happened in Charleston, South Carolina.
Absolutely.
And that's a direct line for what's been going on in this country since its existence.
Because that means there's a governing body that's sanctioning these hits.
No doubt.
That means there's a pattern of behavior. See, the 19 children, it's immeasurable. Mm-hmm. So when you drill it down, you can't really say, how do we measure this? Mm-hmm. You with the Buffalo shooting, we've seen this pattern of behavior. Hell, we experience it all the time.
Yeah.
And now it's ramping up. Now it's getting to the point, and let me say this, people ain't even talking about the Buffalo shooting no more.
No,
absolutely not.
Because this right here has dominated. And I'm not saying it does not deserve attention. I don't want to go there. But
that's good.
Is dominating a real discussion that needs to take place in this country around white supremacy.
Because people, when it's kids, people tend to stop in their tracks. And people don't think about the bigger picture. Because it's hard to. You got to think about it. I watch my kids at home, like, they're so innocent. And anything ever happened to them, like, there's nothing else to be rationalized. But we still got to be responsible, because if we don't pay attention to this Buffalo shooting and the pattern behavior that you're talking about, Keegan, then this is going to continue to happen. It's going to continue to multiply.
And can I say something too?
Absolutely.
Because I believe words matter, right? So I think the word sanction is generous to the powers that be. Let me explain what I mean. When you sanction something, you tell a person to go do it.
Yep.
I don't think these things, I think they're empowered.
Gotcha.
Because to me, when you are empowered, you don't need nobody to go tell you to do it. You just know to go do it because you are of a particular people group. Now, I got a question to ask the viewers as well as two men here. This gentleman who shot up these 19 kids was killed. For some reason, Dylann Roof, the shooter in Buffalo, Kyle Rittenhouse, they all seem to get put in handcuffs. I don't understand how I can give you a litany of black names who cannot make it to court when they get involved with police on stuff as simple as I used a counterfeit $20 bill. But a man shoots up a grocery store, gets put in handcuffs.
And the thing that they will say to that is that person opposed the threat. The person that had no gun was a threat, not the person with an automatic weapon.
Who just done killed people.
That just literally murdered people.
Yes. So for some, that as a black man in this country does not sit well, because my point is, you want to stop Buffalo, you should have handled Dylann Roof a little bit better. I'm not saying kill Dylann Roof, but don't take him to Burger King on the way to the jail.
On that one.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You want to handle these people differently? Convict Kyle Rittenhouse. Don't let him walk after shooting black people because he felt endangered. For me as a black man, I have to ask that question because that impacts me directly.
It does.
I don't care about what the masses might say of relevance or not. For some reason, white mass shooters get put in handcuffs when they shoot black people, but everybody else who is black that enters with the cops tend to get killed.
And you know the thing that really has to change, the thing that really has to change is not the fact of you being a black man that has to ask the question. It's us being humans, as we first talked about.
Facts.
Is us asking the question, how does that continue to keep happening?
Facts.
Because this gentleman had a manifesto. He went in, he scouted out exactly what it was that he was going to do weeks before, days before, and he goes to prison or he goes to jail. This other gentleman, he runs into a school, he kills 19 kids, also kills 2 teachers, which was absolutely egregious. But somehow or another, he barricades himself in a room, and so we murder him. Now, is it that we're saying that one is acting different when, okay, the police are here, let me put my arms up? Because I wonder what gets it to that particular point, whereas you don't start firing on when you first get on scene. Mm-hmm. Is that what happened with the shooter in Texas? Did we start firing as soon as we got on scene? Because it doesn't look like that happened in Buffalo. And so how is this a continual thing since, we can go back to Montgomery, Alabama.
And I think if we're being totally honest, we know the answer to these questions.
Yeah.
I think now it's up to us to be honest and to galvanize. I'm talking about all the men out there really galvanize. Get your friends. Mm-hmm. Y'all go have a meeting. And y'all protect y'all families. Mm-hmm. Whatever that says, whatever, I don't want to start using military words on here, but what we have to do is, I'm not saying fight fire with fire, but I'm saying be protective of the ones that we love and the people on our blocks, because this is happening. Because, see, guys, it's going to happen one time, then they're going to start multiplying. They're going to start multiplying. Then people are going to start, copycats going to start happening. People are going to become more emboldened. People are going to become more angry because we're at our ideals are clashing at an all-time high. You got one group that thinks that if they lose power, that one group is going to try to take over when we have never demonstrated any violence towards you at all. Mm-hmm. We've never done. In fact, you guys put out a false narrative about black on black crime. Yeah, it's not even a narrative about black on white crime. I don't go to white neighborhoods and look for violence. Come on, man. No, black folks know not to go play with. Man, people in the hood know not to go over there. You know not to go in certain neighborhoods. Facts. Whatever we do, it happens where we are. Yeah. We never wanted to bother them anyway. So now it got to go from why are they doing this to why are we not doing that? Mm-hmm. Because I got to protect my brothers. Mm-hmm. I want you to be Keegan. My girls, something happened. I want you to be here to help protect my children.
Yes, sir.
Same thing. I'm ready to die for my brothers and my sisters, because I can fully accept, like I talked about earlier, the temporary manifestation of the mind and the body, because I know I'm always going to be here. Yeah. I'm always energy. I always can affect whether I'm in time or out of time. Right. But it's my job right now. whoever job that you love, let's protect each other. Because now this is a real threat. We've seen it. How many times? We've seen it in the civil rights movement. We've seen it now. We can't act like white supremacists. They not going to go down without a fight. And the thing is, the crazy part about it is, who's trying to take them down? You just white supremacy for no reason at all. All we want you to do is leave us alone.
Facts.
But in order for that to happen, we got to make sure that we're protecting each other. So I think we know, Keegan, and it's important, man. We always, and that's economically too, Keegan. How do we help each other economically? We talked about this a lot, didn't we, Ivan? We talked about, hey, families getting together, put your economic resources together. We're in an inflated society. We're on the verge of a recession. Ain't no pride. Everybody need each other. If we can come hang with each other and we can do all these things with each other, why can't we help build our wealth together? Yeah. It's many things that we can do, but we got to start protecting each other, Keegan.
Well, I also believe we got to start controlling the narrative too. So when we was talking earlier about love as a tool, right? The reason why they don't want to see the black family together is because you buck the narrative.
Come on.
You buck the stereotype and you buck the lie they want to believe and they want to tell. So we got to start controlling the narrative. Like, they are spending an enormous amount of time about what this chief did not do at this school shooting and no time addressing white supremacy. So we got to talk about it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's to the point where this foolishness that I heard today of all of these different people in government stating that stopping people from getting guns is not the answer.
Oh, good. I'm glad you went there.
Good guys with guns handle bad guys with guns. So it sounds like when I was 4 years old and I was playing with the little army men. It really sounds like something that I did as an adolescent. Oh man, these are the good guys. These are the bad guys. What? Yep. No, the issue is the guns. It's not good guys versus bad guys. This isn't. We're not talking about the Avengers. This isn't a video game. This isn't a movie.
Autobots and Decepticons.
Yeah, this isn't. And the thing is like, when are we going to actually place a stop to the action? First of all, we have to ask ourselves the question: when is it ever necessary in this country to have an automatic rifle? Ever necessary? You don't use it to hunt with.
That's facts.
You don't use it to. You can't use it as a handgun of protection. That's what you carry around for protection. So when is there ever a need for that type of weapon?
Man, that's our relationship with violence. We got a toxic relationship with war, but we love violence though. We love war. Like you said, all the little figurines. We love fighting. We love we have violent sports that we celebrate, that we all come together. So we got that relationship with violence. We were adopted into that because I don't think black people are naturally violent. I don't think we are like that. I think environment played a big part. I think what you see out of black people, even in the hood, is frustration.
Yeah,
it's frustration. It's reactions. It's not natural reactions, because look at when a black person thrives. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. When you see a thriving black person, my goodness, it's angelic. So that's how I know that it's environment. That's why the wealth gap continues to be where it is, Keegan.
It's facts.
Because you can continue your stereotype about us. So it justifies the Dylann Roof shootings, because you were already prone to violence. You were already going to do that, Keegan. Keegan, how, from a political standpoint, Keegan, let's get down to the nuts and bolts, because it's not all about us reacting in a violent way. How do we fight it in a booth? What is the importance of, let's kind of expand upon what Ivan was talking about with gun control. So expand on that a little bit and how we can fight that way to help us kind of, solve this problem in a tangible way.
Yeah. So one thing I'll say is I'm not about getting rid of guns because I'm a gun owner and a responsible one. But I do believe.
So you're a good guy. You one of the good guys.
I'm one of the good guys. Yeah.
Hey, listen. The NRA sent you a text message.
Hey, I'm an Autobot. Okay.
That thing said Keegan.
and I also believe in the reality of you're never going to get rid of that part of the Constitution, right? So we got. Be in reality, but I do believe in not more but better gun control.
That's good.
So you talk about, do we really need an assault weapon? And the question becomes, about this other day, does an 18-year-old, no matter what our rights are, need to have an assault weapon, right? So we talked about this earlier, the other day. The process to get a driver's license is much more difficult than to buy a weapon.
Facts.
Right? You talk about driver's ed. You talk about beginner's permit. You talk about a book exam, a road exam.
Parallel parking is a
Then you got to get your license to drive a vehicle. But I can just become 18 and go buy an assault weapon and ammunition. Right? I got to be 21 to buy alcohol. I can buy guns at 18. So raising the age to buy a weapon is, to me, common sense. It's just common sense. That's one.
And anytime somebody of that age is looking to buy an assault rifle, why isn't it? Where are these Army and Navy and Marine recruiters then? Why are they not standing out there then? Oh yeah, we're looking for a few good men. Put that down. Go ahead and come with us.
Let me ask you this question. Let me play devil's advocate for a second. You can talk about this too. What about the people who say guns don't kill people, people kill people? And I get it, but is it the person or is it because my gun don't go off unless I pull the trigger? What do you say to those people?
I think a cliche saying with no content is not an argument to me, right? Because I hear the point, but the reality is, can you do with a handgun what you can do with an AR-15?
Oh, yeah.
The answer is no.
No, absolutely.
The loss of life is highly magnified and amplified with an assault when you have with a handgun, right? So that right there beats that argument.
Yep. So you don't get rid of guns, just no ARs. You shouldn't be able to. Should they be banned?
Absolutely.
I guess that's the real question. Should they be banned?
They should be banned.
What about the gun lovers who go to the range? Let me ask you that question. People do have an affinity for guns.
Absolutely.
My brother got a lot of guns. Oops, I snitched again. My bad, Amp. His name is Anthony. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm about to give his address too, just in case. Listen, it ain't me. Some go down as my brother. I'm telling. Y'all bugging. Nigga, I love being free.
Yeah, you was 6'9".
Y'all bugging.
You was 6'9". I get it.
What you need me to tell? I'm just kidding. I'm not telling on nobody. But get rid of assault rifles.
Why? I didn't say that.
I'm sorry. So ban them. Ban assault rifles.
I think so.
Is there good guys who could use the assault rifles for it?
So if there's good guys with assault rifles, how come we've never heard about them?
Well, no, Ivan, to that point, to Steve's point, that's already been defined. They're called SWAT.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why you have to be careful about, I don't want to get rid of something that can actually be used against me by people who are already trying to kill me just because I'm black. Right? So that's why I'm not against, and that's why I'm not for getting rid of assault, but I understand why Ivan wants to.
Well, I think I don't think ban them from who's supposed to have them. I think ban them from a retail perspective.
Yeah.
Why is there anybody? There's never not a civilian. There's never a reason for a civilian to have an assault rifle.
Yeah. So to your point, and you asked this question before, I believe, if a civilian does not have an AR, then why does SWAT need it? Now the argument's going to be, if people who are criminals going to actually buy these weapons, no matter if it's legal or not.
That's the real argument right there.
So here's the question: do you just stop making the part to begin with? Just stop making the product, period. That way, SWAT don't have them. You can't put them in criminals' hands, the whole nine. That's what you got to ask yourself. But then do they start manufacturing their own? That's the question you got to ask yourself about. It could get somebody's hand no matter what, legally or illegally. That's the argument you're going to make, is that you can't stop the criminal, you can't stop the criminal enterprise, if you will.
And I think it's a tough situation.
Yeah.
All the way around, because, no matter what answer you give, somebody gonna counter it. And that's one of the biggest fights politically that we have going on right now, the NRA, and the political sphere about, banning assault rifles, gun control, NRA is a huge organization with a lot of power.
But I don't want to lose the spirit of the position, right? So here's where I want to go with this. No, and staying in the same vein, no one's talking about the management of criminal activity.
Yep.
Right? We're talking about legally purchased guns.
Right.
So, because I can't put a law in place to manage criminal activity because it's already committing crime.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
laws.
absolutely.
Right? So we're not talking about it. We're talking about those who buy them legally. So to your point, should they be bought? I don't think get rid of them, but I don't think an 18-year-old should be able to buy a weapon, period.
Or stop, like you said, stop manufacturing.
Exactly.
Then you kill two birds in one stone.
Exactly.
That way you don't have to even have
them, period. That's the case, you got to do that.
Stop. Or how about everybody get rid of their guns? Everybody in the world. But it ain't going to happen. But
no, that's my point about reality.
And I think, that's the kind of closing out, man. That's the human part of it that I believe that, I don't know if we'll ever get to that point because of what's presently going on right now in our country. And, I carry a gun, you carry a gun. And I do because I want to protect my family, but I wish I didn't have to.
Do we have a little bit more time?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Okay, I want to try to be as quickly as possible.
No, go ahead. I think we're good on time.
I also don't believe in red flag laws. What a red flag law is, I even can go tell the authorities that I have some mental issues, come take my guns until I get help. That's a red flag law. I don't believe in that because now we're deputizing individuals who do something they shouldn't be doing. Because now I can use that against you in a negative way. Mm-hmm. Same thing we did with the abortion law in Texas. Yeah. Right? We deputize people to actually go and sue people who had an abortion, actually, service in that particular activity. I don't believe in red flag laws, but I do believe in background checks. Like, you can go to a gun show on a weekend. Nothing can be, you just ID and money, you get a gun and a receipt, and that's it. To me, if it can take life away from this planet, it should be a little bit more resistance in buying it compared to buying a car or getting a license. I just don't understand that.
The thing about it, look, I don't care what they're saying. You're never gonna make it make sense to me, ever. Because you will track everything I do through this thing in my pocket.
You will, absolutely.
You'll track everything that I do through this cell phone. Mm-hmm. But the fact that I can go and just easily, legally go and purchase a gun and it actually not even be attached to anything and you don't even know that I have it. How is that? How can we call that? How can we call that the Second Amendment?
Let me ask my conspiracy theory question. Do you think this is hands-off population control? Guided population control, where you're playing the odds of, okay, if this many people, somebody gonna lose it at some point, and then they're gonna do something stupid because think about it. You play with the devil long enough.
Yeah. I hear that.
I think it has to be because it don't make sense for, like you said, for an 18-year-old to be able to go buy an automatic weapon.
It makes sense for the powerful to maintain power by keeping tools in society that me and you having some handguns is not like them having the weapons that they have. No. Right? So in order for them to have what they have, they're going to keep you having guns in your hand because they can beat you with their guns, right? We talking about handguns, talking about ARs. You're talking about ARs, talking about missiles. We're talking about missiles, they're talking about grenades, so it's always going to be a bigger, badder weapon somewhere. It is, right. And so I think that's a power play versus anything else. Yeah. And plus, that also is part of the philosophy of America as it looks towards other countries.
Yes.
That we have the biggest, baddest, meanest army or military, according to Herman Cain, the late Herman Cain. They don't want to give that up because that's right now their calling card. Because they have nothing else to say they're better than anybody
Alexander
else.
the Great didn't have the most money, but he had the biggest military.
No doubt.
And that's why he kept conquering nations. So that's why he kept conquering people. Because he had the big, and that's why we continue. Listen, that's the only reason why people, I don't want to get off on this, but that's the only reason people had invaded America. Because how our technology, how strong our military is.
Yeah, it's a military.
You know, they could infiltrate, but it's gonna hurt you. And a lot of countries can't sustain that. It's 330 million people in America. We're overpopulated. So,
yeah.
But the bottom line here, man, is just we have to stay diligent and help each other in every way, shape, form, and fashion in this present time that we're living in.
We should continue this conversation even in the next podcast.
We do. I want to, man, because I think it has a lot of meat and a lot more layers that I want to dig into. But before we go, man, there's a song I listen to every day called "The Glory of Love" by Jimmy Durant. You got to lose a little, win a little. But it was, and I love the lyrics because it talks about win a little. You know, experience it a little, lose a little, even let your poor heart break a little. That's the that's the glory of love. Because it creates balance. Because now, see, if you always win, you don't know how important winning really is because you never lost. And if you're always losing, you don't know the glory of losing. And if your heart never gets broke, you never know the comeback of love. So you need to experience everything just a little. That's the glory of love. It's all under the umbrella. It's all under helping you experience life. That's why I said you have to experience your emotions earlier. You have to master what? Your existence. Notice I said just master how do you want to exist, Keegan? How do you want to exist, Ivan? Tim, how do you want to exist? And those are the questions you ask yourself. And I want to continue this on, man, this conversation, because, you know, we are living in times that I believe that, you know, there's a lot of tools out there that can help people. But I think the biggest tool that we can provide here at the Deep Surface is empathy and courage. That's what those are leaders, people who display empathy and courage. Because it takes a lot of courage to get up in front of a microphone and talk to people you don't know. Expressing yourself to people, being vulnerable. And because that illusionary separation that I talked about earlier is people, we talked about this earlier, Keegan. There's a difference between being alone
and being lonely.
And there's a lot of lonely people out there. I've experienced loneliness.
I've
experienced that. It feels, you can see people all around you, Keegan, and you can say to yourself, nobody in the world is going through what I'm going through.
Facts.
And we talked about this earlier. It makes you angry.
It does. Resentful.
And you're constantly searching for answers when it's always right there. And the answer is presence. It's your present. Presence is your presence. Presence is your present. It's your gift from God. Because all you got is now.
True.
That's it. I want to emphasize that you just got now. I want to make it to tomorrow and to the next 3 years. But if I spend my time in my next 3 years, I'll never know my today.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, that's why people get bitter. They turn 50, 40. They get older and they think that life is getting worse. No, it gets better because you get more time to experience this day you have. Because somebody's in the hospital right now, Ivan. There's somebody who just shut their eyes for the last time. There's somebody who lost a child. There's those 19 families that's grieving right now. What makes us so special that we can sit here and complain? What gives me the license to do that? Those are the simple things in life that changes everything. Not the big stuff. We can talk about the big stuff, but little things about if we can start appreciating our days, and this starts with me, just appreciating my days. I do a bad job at this sometimes. I do.
We all do.
We do, man.
We all do.
And if we can all encourage each other, man, just to appreciate the day you have, and I think it will be a little bit better. and
Amen.
we'll win a little bit more.
Amen.
Guys, this is Steve Talbot at the Deep Surface Podcast. Please go to YouTube and subscribe. Go to Instagram and follow us, the Deep Surface Pod, man. We got a lot more coming at you too as well, man. And thank you for listening to us. Have a good night.
Peace.